Are there any alternatives to feeding your cows grain?
When are we going to wean Luna?
And would we ever consider eating a milk cow that was not productive? We're going to answer all those questions and a whole lot more in today's episode of Ask Homesteady Cowgirl Edition. We got the cowgirl here today. I try to save as many of the cow questions as I can because I'm not allowed to answer them alone.
Well, I think we would give different answers to them. That's the only reason. So you get both of our opinions on some of these questions.
If you want to get your question answered on Ask Homesteady, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is leave a question in the comments below any of the videos from the week and add the hashtag, and people get it wrong every week. So pay attention here because that way you can get your question answered. Hashtag, one word, Ask Homesteady. Not hashtag Homesteady, not hashtag Ask Space Homesteady. I see that every week. Ask Homesteady.
You can be a little less aggressive
I know,
about it,
I'm
but
pretty mad about
it's just so it's easier to find the questions, because in the comments you can read a comment and say, oh, that's a good question, let me look that up later, and it's really hard to find the question again, the way the comments kind of work out. Sometimes you think like, where on earth did that comment go? I can't find it anywhere. But if you hashtag it, it just makes it easier to find later. And
we have today about 55 questions we're going to be answering, which means if you really want to be sure yours winds up in that group, do the right hashtag. So I'll stop being angry about this. Let's get to our first question. As you've been watching on our channel, we have been going through the ups and downs of getting our cow bred, and we are new at this. So we're trying to time it just right. There's been a lot of questions about breeding cows. What you doing, buddy?
As far as keeping track of Ladybug's heat cycles, I do that on a calendar. It's usually when I notice a bleed off, because she does have silent heats. The heat we bred on last month, yeah, that was in August, she was very loud, which is unusual for her, which is why we were like, okay, let's breed on this heat. Because we're new at this, that's why I got all the hormones to sync her, to make it easier for us to know when the time to breed was right. That's also the reason that we gave her that shot at breeding, just kind of get that follicle ready for as long as the semen would be viable. Because we're new at this, and it's not easy getting the timing right to AI a cow.
We're really excited, and so we're anxious. We want to get this, we want to make it happen. And some of the comments from some of the old timers watching our first breeding said it was too soon. Other people said it looked right. So we're just going to learn as we go, and you're going to watch Nature of the YouTube channel. But we really do appreciate the advice, and for those of you who have experience, keep the advice coming in the comments below.
Yeah, once we get the milk pregnancy test results back, we'll know how to proceed. But you know, I've got plan B. So if it didn't take, I know what I can do better next time to increase the odds of her taking with the AI.
If she didn't take, some have been wondering if we will use a bull next time.
No, not next time. I've got 4 more semen straws left from that New Zealand bull that I want to use. I'm going to use them. So at least 4 more tries.
Dolly had asked, when you buy semen, how many tries do you get? And really that's up to how many straws you purchase.
Right, every straw you can use for one breeding. Now, the next time, if she doesn't take, what I'll do is probably use 2 straws, say 1 in the AM, 1 in the PM, just to kind of up our odds a little bit.
A lot of people were wondering about the cost associated with getting the AI tech out here. You have to remember, as a homesteader, most of the people you're using service large dairy herds of hundreds of heads of cattle. So we have found all these things where people come out and do stuff for the cow have been very, very reasonable.
Yeah.
The AI tech was
$15.
Yeah.
And he's storing the semen for us at no charge.
Yeah, so, and we still have other straws. So we don't have any plans on using a bull in the future. Even if this one takes, or even if it doesn't, we're going to continue doing AI.
Yeah, for us right now, it's just more economical to have the semen, to buy the semen, and to use the AI tech. It saves us a lot of the expense of keeping a bull and the added anxiety of keeping a bull on the farm that I don't want right now.
We have very well behaved cows. We have not the best high quality fencing out there, and I would never put a bull out there in what we currently have. Chelsea had a really good question. She says, most recently I read this study about showing livestock versus meat livestock. showing livestock versus
show livestock
show
versus
livestock.
meet livestock.
People that show them at fairs and different events care and breed them to be the best. They usually have great lineage, but because they are what some people call being over cared for, they can be more prone to diseases, worms, etc. The study claimed it would be very expensive upkeep because they have been treated with medications. They won't have natural immunities to a new area. Curious, what is your opinion on this? I'm working towards having bigger livestock soon. I've been researching for a couple years. Great question, Chelsea. First, if you watch this, please put a link to that study. Anytime you mention studies on our channels, we love to read scientific papers and studies on these topics. We like to keep up to date. So please, if you watch this, Chelsea, add the link below and I'll even add it to the description.
Now, when we're talking about show animals, say in the world of dairy cows, right? What they're looking for in a show animal are good udder attachments, good feet, nice conformation. It's usually a higher producing cow too. So that automatically is going to be a cow that's more expensive to keep.
I think one of the best examples of this I've heard of, Kay's aunt makes sure to buy from more homestead types who keep a registered herd. So she talks about in the goat world, the more show goats, people like to see big udders on the stage. That gets a lot of attention, but that's not necessarily a big producer. Also, it's not necessarily easy to milk those goats because if they have a big udder but smaller teats, it's harder to get your hands around them. So Kay's aunt specifically will avoid show lines, but she does look at registered animals because she wants to see the lineage, she wants to see the records. So I think as a homesteader, it's not a bad idea to avoid show lines if you have better registered or at least well-documented animals who are coming from a homesteader or a farmer who is looking first and foremost for production and well, whatever you're looking for.
So
really.
if you're looking for grass-fed, find animals that have come from line of grass-fed animals. Now, there was one point you said that they won't have natural immunities to a new area. That's kind of true with any animal you get, though. If you're bringing a cow from a few states away, they're not going to have natural immunities to the new area they're in. So that might be something to consider, too.
Yeah, I think in the end, when it comes to purchasing livestock, what we always come down to are try to match your goals with what you're purchasing, buy the best quality you can, and the best quality being animals that you can look at records and data and say, yeah, this is a good quality animal.
And continue to work closely with your breeder. If you have questions for them, make sure you keep that dialogue open. Go to them for advice, go to them for help, because they're going to know those animals better than anybody else. When
you buy a cheap goat on Craigslist, that person doesn't ever want to hear from you again. When you buy a $20 goat, you get your goat, they want you to go away and never ask a question. When you spend a lot of money with a breeder on a good animal, they are never going to mind an email or a phone call from you, right, even a year later to ask questions.
They really care for their animals. You become attached to these animals that you breed and you raise. So you want to see them go to the best possible home.
There were a couple questions on whether or not we purchased A2A2 cows and whether we bred to an A2A2 cow.
Yes, to both of those. We did buy Ladybug, she's A2A2. She was bred to an A2A2 bull, and we have rebred her to an A2A2.
For those of you who don't know what A2A2 is, there's got to be somebody out there who's like, what?
It's the protein, and there have been studies that suggest that it's easier to digest. That it's something that no breed is 100% A2A2. So it is something, if you're interested in buying a cow that's A2A2, you have to have tested. You pull out some tail hairs and send them in, and they'll test it for you. I feel like for a homesteader, where you want to charge a higher product because you're going to be making less of it, it's a good kind of niche market to be in A2A2 milk or A2A2 calves. That's why we did it for us. If there are added health benefits, that's a bonus. Regan asked if we had to dehorn Luna. We didn't. She was polled. Now, this bull we bred Ladybug to this time isn't polled, so any calves, say if it's a heifer calf, we will have to dehorn.
You've probably been enjoying watching the cows while they're in heat, especially Luna. Her antic level is off the charts.
She's loud, she's running around, which is totally normal for a cow in heat.
Freedom Project asked, she seemed unsettled and irritated. Is that normal?
Yes, it is normal. Like, that's a good way to tell if your cow is in heat. If she's acting, she's louder than normal, if she's pacing more, you'll see they're moving more than they're eating or grazing. So if you see a lot of activity, a lot of restlessness, a lot of noise, they're probably in heat. As far as breeding age, the breeder we got Ladybug from breeds their mini jerseys at 15 months. So we're going to do the same thing, 15 months. Luna is a year old in November, so that would be December, January, February. So we'll be breeding her in February. It's kind of hard because she was born later in the year, which means she's coming to maturity, time to breed a little later, which means we're probably looking at what, another November calf, February, March.
Wasn't the worst time for a calf.
Another November calf. No, it's not ideal, but it wasn't too bad. So yeah, in another year or so, we'll be having a Luna calf.
We get a lot of comments. This is one of those topics people do not agree about. When it comes to topics like this, where some people think you should wait past 2 years old and others say, no, you got to do it earlier, we're not ignoring the advice in the comments below when we do something you don't suggest. What we are doing is putting more weight in the advice from the breeder we purchased Ladybug from. They know this particular line. They've been working with these cows for years. We trust their advice, and when they say they're going to breed at 15 months, we follow suit.
We'll make sure to breed her to a low birth weight bull. So we'll breed Luna to a bull that's not, it doesn't throw huge calves. So that will lessen the chance of any, issues with having a calf that's too big.
Miss GB put the worst mental image in my mind, and I will now share that with you, talking about when the father was bigger than the mother, calves having to be cheese wired into pieces because they are too large for the cow to give birth for.
So yeah,
there you go. You're welcome.
They'll have to saw the calf apart, and hopefully the calf's already dead when they do that. That can happen when they're bred to a larger bull, which is why we'll take every precaution we can against this.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to do that because that little calf is precious and valuable, which brings us to our next question.
Miss Italia asked, how much will we sell a calf for? That's a good question, and I really have no idea.
We'll sell the calf the way we price all our products. First off, we have to find out what that calf cost us to produce, because if we can't sell her and cover our costs and profit from it, there isn't much point, in my opinion, to growing that side of our farm business. So we'll look into what does it cost to get a Ladybug to the point of calving for us, keeping her for the year, feeding her for the year, the maintenance, all the things Accountant Mike talked about in that egg video we did not too long ago. When we have a general idea of what it costs to have a calf, then we look into when we're going to sell that calf. What are we going to put into that calf? Do we sell her at, what's the youngest age people sell calves at?
Newborn, after they've had some colostrum, you can sell them so you don't have to bottle feed them as calves, which saves some money. So that'll be the cheapest you can usually buy a calf at.
If we were looking to not take care of a calf, we would sell her sooner, which would mean we would sell her for less money. But we like the young animals, the kids like the young animals, so I don't think we would rush that calf out the door.
No, and then we'll have to look at market prices just to see what cows are selling for in the area, because it will be different what we could have sold a calf for in Connecticut versus what we'll sell a calf for in cow country here.
I will add to that we will not just be selling her to the area. These calves are a premium product. We got ours from many states away, and we will be happy to find the right fitting family who lives wherever in the, we'll say United States, because I don't want to cross a border with a cow. That gets complicated.
So Austin's in charge of the marketing, I guess.
I will drive this calf wherever the market brings me. I would be happy. I love road trips, and bringing a cow on one's just a fun thing to cover on the channel. I'm not going to sell to the local community because, to be honest, the local prices are way lower than what I want to get for.
I don't think you should, put that qualification on there. What if we find somebody?
Sure, if you are willing to pay the market value. What I'm saying is I'm not limiting our market to local. What I'm looking at is this commodity, they sell in Virginia for $5,000 to $6,000. So if no one around here wants to pay that, but someone in Virginia wants to, I'll go for a road trip. Yeah, I'll go for a road trip.
Good.
You want our cow? I'll bring that cow to you.
I don't like when you're all like, money, I'm gonna sell it everywhere for so much money. You're gonna drive across the country to California with a cow.
That would be an awesome week on the YouTube channel. Who wouldn't want to watch?
You want to trailer a cow from Pennsylvania to California.
The drone footage driving through the Grand Canyon and the beautiful scenic vistas with like a cow looking out the back.
That's not what they do.
That's my cow voice.
That's not what they do.
Look at the Grand Canyon. No,
Don't use that voice anymore. I don't like that
Okay, I need to come up with a new cow voice. What I'm saying is, I'm always the business side of things. Okay, these are her precious little cows, and she would give it away to a good home.
No, I wouldn't.
But I'm just saying I'd like to open up the market. I'm not limiting us to, Western Pennsylvania.
Yeah, go out west where there's no hay anymore and see how much people want to pay for a cow.
Nobody wants a... That's where all the cattle are.
That's where people are selling their cows. You're going to have to edit this.
See? Like our video this week. It's okay to disagree. Even marriage mates. Shocker.
You know what? You can sell your cows for whatever you want.
What is that? What? Tiger says rah. 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 What are you looking at? You'll notice we are kind of grouping the questions together today because a lot of people ask the same questions. We had a lot of questions about grain feeding. What kind of grain do we use in particular? Is grain bad to feed cows? A lot of people think so. And what alternatives would we use if we had to, or if we had a philosophic reason why we didn't want to use grain? What kind of grain do we use?
A premix that we got from a farm we really like working with. They grow their own stuff, and he's got college certificates in dairy, cow, nutrition. So he's a very informed person who is designing the feed mixes that he uses. I don't know if Ben is actually, but I know he does
He works with nutritionists.
He went to college for agriculture, and yeah, he works with feed nutritionists.
Now, if you want to know what's exactly in them, I'd have to go get a
corn,
tag.
Soy, maybe oats.
I'll go get a tag.
Okay.
I'll go get a tag. I'll be back. I don't know anything about alternative feed, so I'll leave her to answer that.
All right, so some of the specific questions. So funny. So funny. Candace asked, how do we feel about using things like split peas, field peas instead of grain for your ruminants? I wouldn't have an issue with it. This is one of those questions that ties into another. Brenda asked, are there feeds that don't have ingredients that people might be sensitive to, either philosophically or allergies, such as soy or corn? So yeah, as we just read, it could be peas. You could go to alfalfa to up the protein that your cows are getting. For me, as a first-time cow owner, it was enough for me to have the cow. Just keeping it and figuring out day-to-day, daily maintenance. It was too much for me all at once to take on, like, okay, now I'm going to design the daily ration that I'm going to make for my cow. When we had a feed mill who I'm confident in their product, she looks great on it, she doesn't have any allergies or anything to it, and my family and I don't react from any of the milk that she produces. So I was comfortable just using that mix. Now, the more experience that we get in this, is there a time where I would take the soy out or take the corn out and do more of things that we could grow ourselves? Maybe. But for a first-time cow owner, that's the recommendation I would give. Don't try to do it all. Don't jump in and say, I'm going to buy a cow and I'm going to grow my own hay. I'm going to grow our own grain if we need it. I'm going to do it all. Just start with a cow. And you'll learn so much more just having the cow. And you'll learn all the sorts of things that you didn't even know you needed to do. And it becomes a lot. Then do what we're doing as you're getting more experience, maybe start looking at doing alternative types of feed. But for us right now, just having the cow is enough. Randy asked us about increasing the protein in the cows for milking. Would you add more alfalfa? Yeah, we could add more alfalfa. I give her alfalfa cubes right now. One, it's upping her protein, and another one, it kind of slows her down in the eating. And Karen suggested adding peas, non-GMO soybeans would help as well. Karen also said a good way to check to make sure your cow's getting the right amount of protein is to watch her poop. So if it's stacked up like a horse's, she needs more protein. If it's super runny, she needs less protein.
What a time to show up for this conversation.
Flops down and makes a nice pile with kind of a divot in the middle, she's getting a good amount of protein.
We should do a whole video on what a cow poop should look like. That was one of the first bits of advice Adam from
our breeders
gave us. He said, take a look at that poop. He saved a poop.
Did he?
Said, see, it was in the,
the trailer.
Yeah, he said, see that poop? That's what you want to see.
Didn't find one?
You stopped?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Oh. I maybe have been talking this whole time and haven't been able to stop it, so I just press the space bar. That's what you do.
No, that's not what you do.
Oh, then I've been doing it wrong this whole time.
Did you record anything?
Yeah, I think so. It's been recording maybe the
4
whole
minutes?
time.
Felt like forever. The feed bags do not have an ingredients list. So what I'll do with the magic of the internet, I will download, if I can find one, an ingredients list, and I will put it right here. And if I didn't find one, this will just be an awkward moment.
You're just framing me perfectly.
Oh, well that's precious. That cover it all?
So I gotta see if I got all the questions.
All right, so.
Okay, Golden Hawk asked if for some reason pre-made feeds were not available to anyone. Looking at the financial and political situation, it's not impossible. How would you manage without those added bags of feed? Would you have to get rid of the animals? And if so, how would you be self-sustained? To be quite honest, I don't have to be using grain at all right now. I use it as a treat for Ladybug when she's in the stanchion while I'm milking her. She does very well grass-fed. So if we didn't have any pre-made mixes available to us, if we had a good quality hay, I think she would be able to go fine all winter just with the hay. And if that situation did happen, we could use peas, we could use beets, stuff we could grow ourselves to help her with her protein. We could do alfalfa. Alfalfa is kind of hard though because it does require some pesticides for growing. So that's one of those things that's like, what's worse? Pre-made mix or using alfalfa with pesticides. It's a hard one. Another thing is, this is a good thing just to think about in general. If you get a drought and there's no hay available, which is happening out west all over, people are having to sell their cows because they can't afford the hay because there's such a scarcity of hay right now. So we're not just talking about, it hits the fan kind of situation. This can happen just with some climate changing. You have to think about what does this animal take? Will I be able to provide for this animal if we have an unseasonably dry season even?
We use grain as a tool. We're not using it as a crutch. It's just part of the big picture. Some people are dead set against it. They think that there's science to back up the fact that grain is harmful to cows and to humans.
Now we're talking about, that's referring to large quantities of grain. Our cow is mostly grass-fed with a small supplement of grain on the side. The studies I have read has shown that doesn't make any difference in a cow. It does not become harmful until there are really large quantities of grain being fed. So for us, I don't mind feeding a little grain.
A lot of times I find with the homesteading world versus the more natural versus the conventional, it reacts like a pendulum. What was very, very natural 200 years ago before they could do anything super unnatural, then swings towards very unnatural when they realize, hey, let's confine cows and feed them nothing but grain because it's right there and it's easy. And then the pendulum from the natural sided people kind of swings all the way back to, no, we shouldn't do that at all. It's evil and bad. And what we usually find is somewhere in the middle, there's a sweet spot where if you're we've been called, because of our recent videos, there's the natural homesteading channels and then there's you guys. We're not unnatural homesteaders. We like using natural things. Our cows are, like Kay said, mostly grass-fed, but somewhere in the middle there's a reasonable place where, depending on your breeds and your stock and where you live in this particular season, you might have to swing in that middle. And we just like to encourage people to be reasonable Don't be either side of the pendulum, because that's not sustainable. The pendulum finds its sweet spot in the middle, and that's where it's easiest to homestead, in that middle sweet spot. And that's what we've learned from 7 years of doing this.
Yeah, I was saying it's hard enough. It's hard enough having a cow for the first year. There's so much that goes into learning about and taking care of a cow without adding like, okay, absolutely no grain, or I'm gonna make my own grain mix. I'm gonna do everything on my own and grow it all. That's very overwhelming. We've been there, we've tried that. It's very overwhelming. It's
better to look for that sweet spot. And as you get better, you might be able to handle a different side of the pendulum, but yeah.
But yeah.
As far as what we're feeding, we did get a few more worming questions. Are we feeding any additional supplements to kind of counter-react what happens with worms?
The minerals we're giving them do have like DE, whether that helps or not. It also has some herbs that are supposed to help with worm control. They're also supposed to help with flies as well. Just we'll see how they do.
Which was another question. Somebody was asking if we use any ingestibles for fly tolerance. Again, we're not the non-natural homesteading channel. They're in the minerals or in the supplements. We haven't yet seen with the free choice minerals, because we just started free choice. We haven't seen what effect that'll have on anything, if it will have any effect at all. So
the cows haven't had an issue with worms at all, because they're just kind of a different eater, so they haven't had so much of an issue as the goats have.
Jocelyn asked if, with our worming videos, if it meant that we avoid routine worming, and that's exactly why we do avoid routine worming, and not just because we feel this way. Cody, our on-call YouTube large cattle vet there, who did a video with us a couple weeks ago, he talked about good veterinary practice now is not doing routine worming on all your animals because it's cheap and easy, because that can build a tolerance level in your parasites. So instead, we do not recommend, nor do we practice routine worming. We look at our animals, we pay very close attention to them, we check them. You could do routine checking, because spring, fall, wet times of the year, generally there's going to be issues with worms. So do routine checking, make it part of your practice.
Doing fecals or on the goats FAMACHA testing. Yep,
checking their eyes, checking their gums, and then react only to the ones that need the help. Otherwise, if you just shotgun blast all the dewormer out there, you can develop a parasite resistance on your particular property. That's specific. Covers all the worm questions, right?
I think so.
Can we be done talking about worms?
No.
Never. As we mentioned, some of the supplements that we are feeding also are supposed to be helpful with not only parasites but flies. Smallwood Homestead asked in our fly spray video, have we tried ingestibles for repelling flies? They use apple cider vinegar. Don't know if it works on cows.
So we do have them on the minerals with the ingestibles that are supposed to help for flies. And we'll see how it goes.
A lot of people were concerned with when we spray the cows and there's flies on them and the flies fall and die, whether or not then the chickens would come along and eat that, and then that would be harmful to the chickens. Are we concerned about that?
Personally, I'm not concerned about it, because these pesticides don't react the same way on other animals, poultry, humans, the way they do on the flies, especially in the amounts that the poultry would be ingesting.
For example, permethrin, am I saying that right?
Permethrin, yeah.
Permethrin, which is one of the ingredients, is actually something you can treat your human clothes with. You don't want to spray it on your skin, but you can use it on human clothes. Another reason I wasn't too concerned, I haven't seen it work where she sprays the flies and they all drop down dead right there in where our chickens are. I see oftentimes the flies fly away, and if they die out of the zone of our chickens, not many are being eaten. Plus, don't forget, every animal does have liver, which is designed to remove toxins. So it's not a big concern for us.
No.
If it were, our fly management, we covered a lot about chemical sprays and treatments of worms. Again, we're not the anti-natural channel. We are still learning. We're going to try next year.
Fly predators.
Fly predators are supposed to do really well. I was reading some stuff on fly vacuums and how they work. We're interested in finding different solutions to the fly problem, not just spraying chemicals all over the place. You just got to find the sweet spot in the pendulum. I like that. That's going to be used. I got to make a video.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, I'm buying a pendulum. Amazon.com. Shop through Homesteady for your pendulum.
We had Anita asked us about Ladybug's udder or teats, not seeing flies on them. Considering what we washed them before milking, maybe there's something in there that repels the flies. I use an iodine dip on her teats and then I wipe it off. I don't think that's what keeps them away from that area. So I wouldn't rub iodine all over her body thinking that it would help prevent the flies from landing on there.
And I have first-hand experience filming these cows in slow motion. While you might not have seen it in the slow motion video, throughout the day flies do land on their teats. So it doesn't, whatever didn't show up in the video, it's there.
There is the fact that Luna will be nursing and a calf slobber is very slimy. So it could be the flies just don't want to land on that. That's like a protective barrier from bacteria and stuff.
Incredibly slimy. Which, there's the market. Let's get
Slime,
some cow slobber. Homesteady's natural fly repellent. Calf slobber with a calf tongue. Sorry, Luna. That'll get people real happy we're the natural channel. All natural calf tongue applicator.
What about them?
Finally, Brandy asks if putting the Muscovies in the pasture with the cows would be more beneficial for fly control, and if the ducks were to eat the flies that were sprayed with the chemical, would it harm them? So that question again. We actually do want to put Muscovies in with the cows. We have seen the Muscovies eating flies. Yeah,
it's just right now our fencing situation. We have enough ducks, we could let them out in their little duck flock. Hopefully we're getting to the end of fly season, so that may be something we tackle next year.
Yeah, I think next year you'll see lots of holistic, you might call it, approaches to the fly population. This year we arrived midsummer in the worst part of fly season, and we didn't have any of the tools holistically other than the sprays, which, as you saw, didn't work as long as...
It does become balancing, though, so if we're using the Muscovies and fly predators, we don't want the Muscovies eating all our fly predators.
Oh, man,
so
yeah.
It's a balance.
Gotta find a strategy that works for you, and we'll have more fun next year spending money on fly predators that get eaten by our ducks. Homesteading. As usual, we get a lot of questions about milking our cows.
The one from Jackie, let's see, do we milk 1 or 2 times a day? Right now, once a day. Once Ladybug calved, we'll be back to twice a day again to make sure she's being milked out enough so she doesn't get mastitis or anything like that. But for right now, just once a day. Luna's on her the rest of the time. Once I wean Luna, we'll see when.
We'll get to that.
Follow-up question. Then I'll still probably be milking her once a day depending on what her production is like.
Interesting question Dawn had, kind of blending worms and milk together here. Never understood why we can't get rid of worms. Dawn asks, can we get worms or parasites from drinking the milk from your animals? So
I don't think we can answer this question. We have no idea.
Absolutely. Third try to answer this question correctly. Dawn wants to know, if you're drinking fresh milk from your cows or goats, can you get worms/parasites from the milk? Okay, here's our disclaimer. We are not parasitologists. We're not vets. But I'm just going to give you a couple guidelines as a general rule that we operate by, and then you can go research any particular worms you would like. As a general rule, the worms and parasites you're dealing with our parasite videos live in the digestive tract of animals. They're eaten as eggs and larvae. They go into the stomach, and then they go out the intestines as in the poop. That's where the entire life cycle lives. So know when milk comes out of your cow or your goats, as it's coming into the world out of the udder, there are not worms in it. Now, can you then at that point get some contamination level if you're getting poop in your milk and all that, that's where contamination problems come from. That's why you want to be very hygienic in your milking practices.
For us, because we drink our raw milk, if there are any drops of poop or anything that get in there, we toss it. We won't drink that.
Often with these parasites and worms, they are species specific. Often you don't have to worry about a goat giving worms to a cow and a cow giving worms to a person. But again, I'm not a parasitologist. I'm not saying you can't get any worms, because one of the things you will learn if you're looking about people and worms is that people can pick up worms around livestock. So each individual case will be different, and this is not another video in-depth research about worms.
But worms do not come out of the cow's milk.
So I hope that answers your question, Dawn. As a general rule, just keep up your cleanliness and your milking practices and monitor your worm loads. And remember, yes, people can have a worm load too, and you can treat people for worms too.
There are also some sicknesses that you can get from drinking cow's milk if the cow has that disease. That's why our cows are all tested for those diseases and carefully monitored for any signs that they might be getting sick.
Worms are not the only thing to worry about in raw milk, and in the future we will be doing a series on raw milk because it's one of those topics that is fun to cover. People will love us and hate us for those videos, so we'll cover that someday soon.
How about making cheese, we're asked. Is it easier to store than milk or maybe homemade butter? Yes, the homemade butter, because that's very easy to make. As far as cheese goes, that's another one of those things coming into owning a cow. It was like, I'm not gonna have to buy my own cheese. I'm not gonna have to buy my own milk or butter or any dairy product. It wasn't true for us this year. She's not a super high producer. What we get from her as far as milk, we drink most of it. When we were getting a lot of milk, I did attempt to make some cheeses, and I failed miserably, and nobody liked them.
One thing you should always remember when getting into a homesteading hobby endeavor, pick one project, one endeavor.
One thing to master.
Owning a cow is one good thing.
Right.
And we got Ladybug well before she was in milk. So Kay could spend how many months before you had to milk?
6 months.
6 months to learn just how to own a cow and care for a cow.
Now, cheese making is a whole other thing to master.
Yeah.
And hopefully in the upcoming years, I will get much better at making cheese.
Professional cheese makers, most of them don't own cows. They make cheese. They just buy the milk. So.
And believe it or not, there's a lot that goes into cheese making, like the protein in your cow, the different molecules and everything. It becomes a science all of its own.
Don't assume when you buy a family milk cow you're gonna do all your milk and yogurt and ice cream and butter and cheese, because it doesn't make sense.
So yogurt is easy though.
There
and
you go.
yogurt's defense. Yogurt and butter.
We've made butter a few times.
Do.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to wean her and then we'll get more butter. Brittany asked us if we started training Luna to the stanchion yet. I haven't yet. I'll probably do that when she's in calve, maybe once we get closer to her calving. Just time right now. I don't have the time to do it right now.
Couple different people asked, why don't we get a milking machine? When you sit there all day, all morning, just get a machine to do it.
I didn't get a milking machine when I bought the cow because I wanted to learn to hand milk, so I would always be able to if ever the need arose, and say I didn't have a generator or power for a milker. I still haven't got a milker because it doesn't take me long to hand milk every day. I'd say 10 minutes actual milking time. Now, in the future, when we have 2 cows in milk, we will get a milker. So that's something that this year we'll be shopping for, looking at different brands and figuring out which one's best for us.
Comment below if you have a milker for multiple cows that you like.
That you could recommend.
That you would recommend, because we'll look into them, do a throwdown.
For me, because the hand milking is so fast, at this point
That's braggy.
No, it's not. She only gives a gallon. It won't take you long to hand milk a gallon
She's
of
good
milk.
hand milker.
For me, the time I spend is hand milking instead of the time spent cleaning the machine. Once again, when I have 2 cows, I will be getting a machine.
That'll change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't have any desire ever to hand milk a cow. I've done it a couple times, just to have the experience, but it's not my thing.
And for those times where I need him to be able to milk, if I'm sick, taking care of something else, it would be nice to have the machine.
Also, going on vacations, something
Right.
we enjoy doing. Some people have this opinion homesteaders should never go on a vacation, but I like going to the beach and going surfing once a year. So having a cow trained to a milking machine where a guy could come in and go toot 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 and get them all milked, that would be
Yeah.
good to do. So that'll be in the future, next year.
Rose, Mary, and Anna both asked about cream, that beautiful 50-50 milk to cream ratio. And that's what Anna's homestead wanted too. Buy a Jersey. They have such nice cream. Now that cream line has gone down substantially because I've got the calf on her, and cows are very good about holding back for their calf. So I'll get a nice gallon from Ladybug, but that cream she saves for Luna. Which kind of leads us into another big question many people had.
Weaning.
Weaning!
Why is that calf still on mama? Let's talk about weaning.
I love the Jersey breed so far. I've loved having a Jersey, especially grass-fed like Ladybug is. She's been really easy to keep, and she has raised a beautiful, fat little calf on all that Jersey cream. Now, commercially speaking, Luna would have been weaned about 8 months ago, about 2 months.
At a commercial size dairy.
Yeah, because we're not a commercial dairy, we are not raising her the same way. So for them, there have been studies done on the calves that if you wean them at this age, they'll be the best producers ever. When we're talking about a homestead calf, we have a very different goal than a commercial dairy does. I want a healthy cow that lives a long time, that is a decent producer. I don't need like 8 gallons a day. And I have that in Ladybug, and I really like that. Now the breeder we got Ladybug from, they wean their calves at about 9 months old. So my goal was to kind of emulate that. Now having never calf shared before, I didn't know how it would go. It was pretty flexible. So calf sharing is a really nice convenience and a big inconvenience at the same time. It's a convenience because, as you saw when we moved, I didn't have to milk for the first 2 months. I didn't have a stanchion, we weren't set up, and Luna took care of all the milking for me, which was really nice. It's an inconvenience because the cow will hold up for that calf. So I have to use Luna to start the milk, to get that milk down there. I'll milk, tie Luna up, I'll untie Luna, let her nurse a little more, get the rest of that cream out, all that Ladybug will give me. But for us this year, calf sharing was great. Now Luna is 10 months old. My goal was 9 months, so we made it. And I will be weaning her soon. We just have a trip coming up where I need her to be my relief milker. Because I don't have a machine, Luna's my little relief milker right now. She'll be milking for a few more weeks, and then she will be weaned.
This is one of those areas. There's going to be a lot of disagreeing people in the comments below, and that's fine. We talked about that last week. It's okay to disagree. We follow the pattern of the breeder.
Because we're new at this.
Yeah.
So.
And if we took all the advice from everyone in the comments below, we'd be every week, every minute, we'd be doing something else because people disagree. So instead of going, well, this guy said we should do this, and this guy said we should do that, we just say, what did the breeder who had these cows for years, what did they do? If we do that, we will probably get the exact same result they did. And time will show if that's the case, but that's where we put the most faith in the practices of the breeder. Just like with my dogs, I emulate the breeder that we purchased our dogs from. We do that with our cows too.
So my goal was to let Luna nurse on Ladybug for 9 months. I think in the end it'll be about 11 months.
We did get asked our feelings on the Jersey breed, and I know you mentioned at the beginning loving the Jersey breed. What a lot of people talk about Jersey drama and Jersey being high maintenance cow. We got some prima donnas. What's your thoughts on that?
I really liked the Jerseys. I looked into many different cow breeds before I settled on a Jersey. Some more dual purpose breeds like the Kerry or the Milking Devon, Randall cattle. But I settled for a Jersey because of the cream, the milk, and I settled for these ones specifically because these ones have been so hardy. I haven't had any issues with them. So for me, I've been really pleased with this breed, personally.
And this line.
Right. Now, I'm not going to go to a commercial dairy and buy a 8-gallon-a-day girl off the line, because that's just not what I'm set up to take care of.
Yeah. We talk a lot about focusing even more on the line than the breed.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, we love the Jersey breed. Our girls are great. We really love this line.
Yeah, it's the New Zealand genetics Ladybug has that we're breeding her too, so hopefully we can do as good as the breeder before us and get a nice, perfect little homestead cow. Speaking of breeding, we just said we breed for grass-fed genetics. Brandy asked if we get a bull calf, will you castrate it and raise it for meat? Have you thought of breeding either one with a meat breed like Angus to raise your own beef? Yeah, I think someday we will.
This is one of those areas we disagree about.
Now, what it comes down to is the first question: if we got a bull calf, would we make it a steer? Yeah. Would we steer and eat it? Probably.
Yes, because as we mentioned before, we don't want to deal with having a bull while we have young children and bad fencing. That's a bad combination. So if we got a bull out of Ladybug, if this one worked and we have some bull calf, we're gonna eat him.
Right. Now, how soon would we steer him? Would we use him to, say, breed Ladybug or breed Luna, do a little line breeding? Once I learn a little more about it, it might be a future possibility down the road, but that's something we'll have to wait and see what happens. I wouldn't have any reservations about eating a bull calf that was born here, though.
No. The only thing, I think, if someone were to contact us and say, hey, I like those genetics, I'd like your bull, don't castrate him, I'll get him young, we would be willing to do that. The thing is, we have no problem. We like beef, and if we got a bull calf, as opposed to us keeping a bull, yes.
Yeah, can you imagine that little Jersey cream fed bull calf?
Ooh, yummy. And Jersey meat is supposed to be very good tasting meat. They're not a meat breed. They don't develop a lot of meat, but the quality of the meat is supposed to be good. We've never had it.
Okay, here's a question, and I don't know if we'll be on the same page with this one. Well, here we go.
We're gonna disagree.
Brenda asked, are you opposed to eating your milk cow if she no longer has calves or any other culling reason? The homestead climate might be a little scary right now to answer that one, but I hope you can. We ate a beef heifer at about 3 years old when she never conceived. She was probably a free martin, though we bought her from someone, so we don't know. She was quite the looker, but we don't have bovine pets. Since then, we have all of our own farm-born cows. If one doesn't conceive for a time and the rest of the herd are conceiving, and the cow appears to be in good condition, I think culling would be the choice again. Dare I say that in this conversation? It's okay, Brenda. My question is about culling an animal by harvesting it if it is healthy. Would you do it? And is it a different answer because it is a dairy cow? Okay.
How do we break this? I think we break it down like this. First, we remind everyone it's okay to disagree. We have a video out last Friday. It's okay to disagree. We might disagree about this. You might disagree with what we're about to say. It's totally okay.
It's okay.
It's okay to disagree. So, my question first.
Are you opposed to eating your milk cow if she no longer has calves or any other culling reason? So let's say...
The last question is, my question is about culling an animal by harvesting it if it is healthy.
So
what would you do?
She's saying if it's healthy enough to eat it. So if it's not a disease-ridden animal and you're butchering it for that reason. If it's a disease-ridden animal, no, we will not eat it, of course.
Right, no. Brenda had what's called a free martin. For those people who don't know what a free martin is, that's not what happens when you let me go do whatever I want on the weekend and go hunting and fishing. What is a free martin?
It is a female cow that cannot have calves.
A female cow that cannot have calves.
It's unbreedable.
They did not know, but they think she was a free martin.
Yeah, so if the rest of their herd is healthy and everyone's breeding back like they should be, and if there's one cow that isn't.
Okay, so first, just animals in general, culling for eating.
We have done that.
Absolutely.
We have never done it for a female animal of any of ours, except like a meat bird or a meat duck. We've done those.
Or an egg-laying chicken, if we have too many egg-laying chickens.
Yes, but personally, we've never done that.
Okay.
Because, there's always there's a little bit of a reverence around a female animal on the farm, right? Like, this is your future. So if, say, Ladybug hasn't taken to the breeding by AI, we've had her with a bull for months on end, the vet's palpated her, he says, everything looks good, there's nothing you can do, she's just not breeding back, Would we butcher her and eat her? And what's your answer?
I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. So, and I'm not even going to edit this so that people watching who might not understand get this clear. First off, if we owned a free martin like they did, we bought this cow, we tried a couple different times.
No. That for me is a clear, like, this animal is unbreedable from the beginning, right? So we've never had any calves out of her. She just has been unbreedable. For me, that's a, yes, butcher situation.
If you get a free martin, if it's actually a free martin, she has no history of having had kids. Or, sorry, calves. Goat guy. Wearing the goat shirt today. So what they had happen, if you get a cow and you never see it calf, it never works,
Never
and you're
comes
like,
into
this
heat.
must have been a free
No
martin.
heat, yeah.
Do you cull that animal and eat it? Yeah, I don't think you have.
For us personally, because cows are expensive to keep and feed, and if you're not getting any product for it, it's an expensive pet. Now, we do have a friend of ours. She makes the fly masks, those beautiful fly masks. She's got a huge Holstein who's a free martin, and she did find a purpose for it, which is really cool. She taught it to carry her, so she rides it. She rides her cow, which was cool because she gave it a purpose. So that's always a solution.
That's a great topic because we think of a Jersey heifer as it's got to give milk and calves. That's what it gives milk. But if you can give it a different purpose, if you don't want to have that, if you don't want to kill it, if you don't want to call it, give it a purpose. Another purpose you can give Jersey heifers that I just learned about this week, you can train Jersey heifers as a pull team. What are you pulling? I'm not Amish. I don't have to pull anything. You could pull at fairs and you can win high-priced purses. I was talking to a guy at a horse riding ranch. Is that the right word?
Yeah, sure.
And he has a team of mini Jersey heifers that he puts in the contest. The minute he shows up at the fair, he gets a $50, thanks for coming, here's $50. And the purses are $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 purses. So that would be, if that's what you're into, I mean, that would be super sweet. So you could find other purposes other than culling.
Now we're like all over on this topic.
Kind of beating around the bush here.
Sorry, Brenda.
Now
get down to, like, in our situation, be Ladybug.
Ladybug.
Right? The AI doesn't take. She doesn't take with a bull. For months and months, the vet comes and says, I can't find any reason. She's just not breeding back. What do we do? Now she's 4 years old right now. What do you do?
Okay. I feel like we should do like a 1, 2, 3, thumbs up, thumbs down, Caesar style. What would we do? We exhaust all effort. We have the vet check her out and say, yep, she's seems healthy. We try AI, we try AI, we try AI. We try a bull. I'm just reprocessing. I gotta get this because this is big. Would we then process Ladybug? Okay, ready? She's 4 years old.
4 years old right now.
Right now. Thumbs up, she lives. Thumbs down, she dies. On the count of 3. 1, 2. Are you ready for this? You gonna do this with me?
No.
Why?
You can do it first.
I want to just do the thumb. And
Okay,
then,
do it.
Ready? You
One,
and me.
I'm not
Thumb.
doing it with you.
Okay. Then what's the point? I can just tell this.
Yeah, just tell
I
'em.
think I would call Ladybug. Ooh, I hate saying that. I think it would be very, very hard.
And
She's 4.
And Brenda did mention, is it a different answer because it is a dairy cow? I think it is a different answer. I don't know what I would say right now. At 4 years old, I don't know. Now, we talked about this a little earlier, and I was saying if she's 15 years old and just calving is too much on her anymore, what would we do?
Hold on, let's get there last. Right now she's 4. Don't jump ahead on
No,
me.
but what I'm saying is it's a different answer. For me,
Each age
for
is a
4
different
years
answer.
old, I don't know. At 15, I can say what I would do is probably let her live out her days
Yeah.
here on pasture.
I agree.
And retire her.
So I feel if she's 4 and I can't find a purpose for her, I can't sell her as a dairy cow. Anyone who wants a pet, sure, but no one who wants a big old hungry pet. At 4 years old, she has a lot of life ahead of her, and I don't have a purpose. Our homestead animals are providing us. It's a give and take. She's not a pet. She's a farm homestead animal. There's a give and take. And we've only had her for a year. We've got one beautiful little calf from her and a year's worth of milk, which is great. But that will not, on the scale for me, that will not outweigh what she's given us, what she will take from us over the next. She could live to be, what, 18 years old? Is that what they said? Our breeder said this line of cows lives a long time and a long productive life, which is wonderful. These cows can be productive. They said at 15 years old, you can still be milking them. But for me, that scale, at 4 years old, I got to take care of her for another 11, 12, 13 years, and I'm not going to get anything from that. No, I think I would absolutely, myself, I would want to cull her right now if I had exhausted everything else.
Right.
If I made sure that it wasn't because of something we were doing wrong or something we weren't giving her or a problem with where she was. If we had exhausted all that, I would cull. You don't know?
No, I don't know. Probably cull though. Probably.
So we're kind of on the same page for here. And I think we're on the same page for 15.
Retire in the pasture.
I actually, honestly, so I like to be a bit more business minded and number driven, but there is something to that scale again. If now we've owned Ladybug, she's 4. If we've owned her, 10 more years, she gives us 10 beautiful little calves and 10 years of milk for a little bit of hay over the winter. I mean, at that point, she has earned her keep. She has provided us monetarily, just fed our family great quality milk. She's been a companion. You know, we really love these cows. And at that point, when my bird dog gets too old to actually go bird hunting, I ain't gonna put him down because he can't go bird hunting anymore.
Now, don't quote us on any of these decisions because it is all hypothetical. And
well, you can quote me on it, but yeah, I mean, this is obviously
don't hold us to it. Yeah.
No, I mean, we've put dogs down. I've dealt with animals, and I feel very confidently that if she's 15, if she's 15 and she's earned her keep,
it's a hard decision. Yeah, not easy, especially with the dairy cows. You work so closely with them, but they're a big animal, so something you have to think about before you get into cows.
Or any animal.
Yeah.
You know, other than like geckos. We got a couple questions on goats.
So change of gears here.
Whoa.
Tammy has Nigerian pygmies. Which, are they a Nigerian pygmy cross or are they Nigerian dwarfs? Because that can be a little different.
Different.
How often would you recommend feeding? Once a day or 2 times a day? What she's feeding grain, Bermuda grass, 2 times a day now, break up 2 leaves, 2 times a day between 6 goats. If they look good, Tammy, if they're not getting too fat, that's what my difference with the pygmy. Pygmy goats can get kind of fat. I don't know if you're Nigerians or you are milking them. That would be kind of different. Feed requirements for all of them, if you have milking does or not. And you're good because you're one female who hogs all the hay, you separate her and feed her separate. So it seems like what you're doing is working out pretty good. If you have any more questions specifically related to your goats, maybe ask your breeder, whoever you got them from.
I find a breeder is a better person to ask than a feed person because the feed person wants to sell feed, but your breeder will tell you what's best for your breed.
Yeah.
And that rhymed. All this is true because it rhymes.
So if your goats are too skinny, you might want to feed them more AM, PM kind of thing, split up their feedings. If they're too fat, decrease. We are feeding ours once a day now, just a little amount, and they're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
It could be different for everybody.
Get to know me.
Get to know me.
Wouldn't sanding or trimming goat horns be more humane way to deal with the dangers?
Now, this might be referring to disbudding the goats. If you remember, they put the little goat under anesthesia, so the goat didn't feel anything. Would it be more humane to sand or trim the horns on the goat? Probably not, because the goats have nerves in their horns. That would hurt them a lot by sanding or trimming them. There would be a lot of blood from the trimming, and it would be very painful for the goats.
That whole cutting horns is a very bad way to deal with horns, which is why we choose to deal with it early.
When they're babies.
When they're babies.
Yeah, when you can just burn the base of the root, kills all the nerves, the horns won't grow.
And under anesthesia, from what we saw, looked like the nicest way to do it. And I believe it cost $100. So for us, that was in Connecticut. It might be cheaper elsewhere.
It also wasn't our goat.
Yes.
We wanted to make sure it was done professionally by a vet because it wasn't our goat.
Right. Now, if we were a goat herder and we had tons of bucks, it probably would not be financially feasible to have anesthesia and a vet out every time. That's a decision you have to make.
Right. It's, in any case, it is not better for the goat to cut the horns, to trim them. That hurts a lot.
Yeah. So
the hooves are different. Cut their hooves, it's just like cutting fingernails. They don't feel it. The horns are different.
That is most of our questions. We have a lightning round of things that aren't exactly cow, goat, lightning round. Ready?
Yes.
I'm gonna ask a question, Cowgirl's gonna answer.
Okay.
Lightning round. Would you ever consider milking sheep?
Yes, I would love to try milking sheep sometime. The milk's supposed to be delicious.
With all the extra grass available in the back of your farm there, will you be haying some of it or hiring out? Maybe splitting a percentage with a farmer?
Yes, actually that's the very thing we were discussing with our hay guy this year. So maybe next year, haying the field, he gets half of it, we keep half of it.
Crayhack wants to know, in numbers 15 or greater, would you say that goats or sheep are better looking at meat, milk, and being worked by dogs?
I'm gonna go with sheep. That's my quick answer.
All right.
Sheep, well, I'm thinking about lamb for eating. I think most markets a little easier to market lamb. Plus working them with dogs. I know sheep respond a little better to working with dogs traditionally. What was the other one? Milking?
Milking.
And sheep's milk seems to be a really good product. Now, that may be different in different areas depending on what kind of land you have. So, disclaimer.
How does Kay manage her time with farm chores, meal prep, kids, laundry, grocery shopping, etc.? Etc.
Etc.
Etc. Etc.
Okay, I've thought about this one because this is not an easy question to answer, but I'll still do it fast. I'll pick one big project to do for the day. So if I'm moving cows, that's my big thing for the day, and I make everything else easy. So food is easy. Meal planning easy. So a meal that day would be like throw something in the crock pot and make an easy salad for dinner. Easy. If we're doing a project with the kids for homeschool, that's my big thing of the day. If I'm doing something around the house, that's my big thing for the day. Routine daily maintenance is laundry. Do all the laundry for the day, make sure it's done. So nothing piles up too much like that around the house. Also, the older kids do a great job of helping as well. So they can fold laundry. They can clean up the kitchen after we eat. They can keep up with their rooms. And so that's like basically my tips on how to make it all work. And we're just talking about this. I make sure we don't get too much for ourselves. And that differs every year. We decide, okay, the farm's too much right now for us to handle. Let's cut back a little bit.
That'll be a future video. It's a great video topic. What was it like to run the farm while pregnant? What was it like to run the farm with a newborn?
I never run the farm completely by myself. So that's another thing that helps is that Austin is home most of the time. So he can do all, if I'm pregnant and really feeling bad, if I have a newborn, he can take over most of it. It's not easy because that puts a lot more on him. So it can be stressful for him, but we make it work. It's not easy. Those are times of life where nothing is easy, right? Everything's a little harder, and the farm's a little harder too.
What would you do different if you could start all over again? Also a great future video. We'll do these lightning round ones. We'll do a video later because I am not lightning.
I think I would go for cows earlier.
I was gonna say the same thing. I should have said it with you. Get a cow sooner.
That's what I would have done different.
So exactly what I would have done different. They have been such a great animal. It has gone so smooth. I don't know if it's because we learned the mistakes we did along the way.
That's it, maybe.
It's hard to do, but I would have got those cows
sooner.
Ladybug wouldn't have had pink eye because we'd have got her first.
She wouldn't have been born yet.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay, so, oh man, this one cannot be lightning round. Alan Colors, I scoffed at the notion of a vegan homesteader. I'm a vegetarian who's very interested in homesteading, and I can conceive of many things that would fit my lifestyle and health goals. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on why this is a strange idea. This one's for me because I'm the one who scoffed.
Sometimes Austin scoffs about stuff.
He says jokingly.
Yeah, it was a joke, but sometimes Austin jokes and people don't get his sense of humor at times. He can tease some people.
Everyone gotta lighten up a little bit. So first off, no, I don't think a vegan homesteader is going to work.
I don't see why not.
Let me say why. Homesteading, all the things you do better with livestock. And a strict vegan doesn't want you to use eggs. They don't want you to use milk. They want you to leave the calves on the cows. Most of the vegans we have had interaction with who are animal rights-driven vegans have shown clearly from their comments they do not understand how farm animals work. They want you to set your cows free into the field. I'm not saying all. Now, you specifically, Alan, are not a vegan. You are a vegetarian, and there is a very big difference there. Here's who can homestead and still be a vegan/vegetarian. If you understand that animals are not all wild creatures to be left of their own devices, if you understand that animals not only give, but also take from you in your homestead and should be used as tools in that cycle. If you're going to use your chickens to produce and to grow the flocks and scratch the ground, if you're going to use the cows in the way they're supposed to, then you could be a homesteader. I find most vegans do not want to use animals. They don't want to use the milk. They don't want to use the eggs. And then essentially you're running like an animal charity.
Well, if you were a vegan, you wouldn't have those animals, though. There wouldn't be any
That's
point.
What I'm saying.
So if you want to be a homesteader, and the definition is fluid of homesteader, right? If you want to do more with your piece of ground and you want to have a big garden and you want to work to be more self-sufficient in a homesteading way, sure, you can be a vegan and do that. Why not? Now, how are you going to control pests on your garden, right? What are you going to do with bugs? How vegan are you trying to save all the animals?
We go back to the pendulum. Your point's great. If you just like gardening, but in my opinion, no, and who cares, right? If you want to call yourself a homesteader and all you do is raise a garden, sure. If you're more self-sufficient, you want to do firewood and gardening, yeah, I guess even a vegan could. But you, like Kay mentioned, if you're being a vegan because you don't want to harm any animal and you just want everything, that's going to be hard to do homesteading. Because homesteading is a balance of working with nature and with animals and with wild stuff. Did I answer that? Did that make any sense? Yeah. I like your point. I mean, we don't want to put a strict label on what a homesteader can be. As far as a vegetarian goes, if you eat eggs and you eat milk, go for it, man. I think a vegetarian could be a great homestead because you could primarily be plant-based, but using chickens and cows along with it.
And sometimes once you're raising your own product, you feel a bit more comfortable even with harvesting. So as a vegetarian, if you have a chicken who is injured, say a broken leg, would you feel comfortable culling that chicken and then maybe utilizing it in a stew or something like that? Because it's been in your hands the entire time, you know how ethically it's been treated.
And I think when I was thinking of this topic, I was assuming livestock. Often when it comes to homesteading, I think in terms of a larger, 10 acre, 5 to 10 acre, and even if you only have 1 acre, I think some livestock are very important to having a really good working homestead. That's why I suggested that a vegan not be a homesteader, because if you have a garden, you really should have chickens. They work really well together. Mm. And what Kay said, if you're willing to bring that element in, the minute you have livestock, you're going to have to deal with killing things, because you're going to have an animal that needs killed. We had a chicken last week who had a problem, something wrong with it, where it needed to be killed. So the minute you have livestock, you need to be able to kill things, and that's why it'd be hard for a vegan. Lightning round with Austin.
Always
blah, blah, blah,
take it to
blah.
the vet and get it euthanized.
No, don't.
Okay.
Lightning round with Kay, much quicker. How much does hoof trimming cost?
Hoof trimming cost us $12 per cow.
Yes.
Worth it.
Another one. Oh, this one, lightning round. Oh, this is such a good video. We'll make a future video. Other than fencing, and shelter, what should they plan going to a new homestead? Roxanne wants to know Should we plant pasture mix, or is existing grass good enough? Should we do something about running water out to where the barn's going to be? What style of barn works best? How much room do you need to milk? Solar panel energy worth the cost of powering the barn? Thank you for the channel. Love the information.
I'll answer this quickly. Test your dirt, test your fields, your pastures, see what kind of plants you have growing there already. Make sure nothing's going to be poisonous to whatever animals you choose to raise there. Before you do fencing or anything, do figure out where your fencing will be, run your water, and run your electric. As far as barn styles, if you're building from nothing, then kind of the sky's the limit. You don't need a large area to milk, but be forewarned, it's probably better to build your barn bigger than you think you need than smaller.
Put a concrete floor in that barn too. Whatever size it is, concrete floor. Hope that helps, Roxanne. We can make a whole video on planning your future building. That's a good topic. Finally, Roxanne also wants to know, what do you do with all that poop coming out of your animal? Got to be a mountain of poo somewhere on this property.
There is kind of. When we clean out the chickens or the goats, stuff like that. If you deep litter, then twice a year you got really big piles of poop. We take it with the UTV we have up over the hill in a corner of the field, so we're kind of composting it all.
Big compost pile.
And we'll use it in the future. The cows have been okay so far because they're in the field so much. We don't really have any piles of cow poop sitting around.
Cows of pile poop. And with that, we are done with all the Ask the Cowgirl questions. Am I going to survive it? If you asked a question within the last couple weeks and you hashtagged it Ask Homesteady, but we didn't answer it today, it's not because we don't like you. It's because there are more questions I can cover on my own. Today was Ask the Cowgirl. We do about one a month, Ask the Cowgirl. So if you specifically want to ask the cowgirl, you could use that hashtag, Ask the Cowgirl. Otherwise, just do hashtag Ask Homesteady and I will sort them appropriately. If you like these videos and all of our videos, please consider supporting this channel in one of two ways. So shopping on Amazon through our Homesteady link. Just type in www.homesteady.com. It will forward you to Amazon. Anything you spend there, we'll get a little bit of bonus for sending you there. That's a huge help. Or you can click on the link below, become a Homesteady Pioneer. For $0.25 per episode, you help pay for this show. In return, you get bonus content, classes I used to teach at local schools, all the future classes we'll ever add to it. There's discounts, there's all kinds of stuff. You can learn more by clicking on that link below. Thank you so much for the support of the channel.
Thank you for your comments. We aren't able to answer everybody's comment specifically, but we try to read them all. And we appreciate your dissenting views or your agreeing views or telling us what we can do better or what you enjoy. We thank them. We enjoy it, and thank you for them all.
And we'll see you in next week's videos. I won't do that gesture you don't like. I will eat my chips though.
Why are you recording that still?
Sometimes good stuff happens.
No.